it's easier for me to talk about life, to talk about anything really, when I have kind of a set format to go off of. I guess it's probably the academic side of me, but so in thinking about what I wanted to talk about regarding life, one theory or one, well, yeah, I guess it'd be a theory of life that I'm really attracted to is Freud's idea of the pleasure principle, and that all of our instincts are geared towards the acquisition of pleasure. So we have this kind of need to feel pleasure, but at the same time we have a force within us that's destructive. So he calls these Eros and Thanatos, I think. But anyways, so I really like this idea that, this is what we're seeking, but at the same time there's all these, there's the same instinct in us that's complicating gaining pleasure. And I think that's, without getting too technical and too into it, is a good way to describe how a lot of events in life kind of come about. So if I use this as a lens to talk about life, and specifically my life, I think it's interesting, kind of looking back, when I was younger, one thing that always struck me was, really, like 7, 8 years old, I'd have these moments, these epiphanies that I'm going to be someone great, I'm going to be famous or accomplish something, or in in a strange sense, like the figure of Jesus would come to mind, which for no particular reason, or famous actresses, actors. When I was really young, I wanted to be an illustrator of books. Now I want to write and critique them, but but anyways, I always had this thought that I was put here to do something special. And as time went on, not that much time, probably, now we're talking like 10, 11 years old, I had the notion that this idea probably wasn't unique to me. I started thinking maybe everyone has these ideas. Everyone has the same idea at some point in their development, that they have a unique reason for being here, and that they are going to make some kind of some big change that will impact the course of humanity as we know it. But I think it was this sense of, this feeling is completely relative to each person, that really had almost somewhat of a damaging effect on me, because while I had the drive to always kind of, for lack of a better term, think outside the box, to do things that maybe weren't so ordinary, traveling and just different experiences in life, because I thought these are all points of development that when I am this profound person, people are going to look back and want to see my development. I think the problem with this is that people and places kind of became relative to this larger idea of success. And so I was never really able to have a concrete friend basis. Right now I'm 23 years old, and honestly my best friends are, in no particular order, my mom and my boyfriend, whom I've been dating for about 1.5 years. So as far as having, lifelong friends, or friends since childhood, friends since high school, that best friend that you want to stand up in your wedding or things like that, a friend that's like a sister to you, I don't have that. And I think, I've always had friends, and I'm, wherever I go or in whatever situation I find myself in, it's very easy to make friends, but for some reason I lack this ability for that to stick. And I maybe take it for granted. I've read that's kind of a way to protect the self. Maybe I'm protecting the self from from unpleasure, you know, if the goal in life is to seek pleasure. And maybe that's because I do believe, you know, in a finality and of life, you know, so that it does end, and you know, the best thing, sure, we're reincarnated, but you know, as far as what I really believe is that we're not, you know, it's just kind of ends, and you know, we don't really have that time for contemplation and to look back and to watch over our loved ones. So maybe I always thought that, you know, these people were going to disappear anyways. I don't know, but it was never a conscious thing to say, you're only going to be my friend for a year or two, and then I'm going to move on and find new people. And I guess now I'm at the point in life, larger, where these, the lack of these long-term relationships with people is starting to hurt a little bit. You know, I realize I'm super thankful to have a great family, and like I said, my boyfriend and his family and friends are all very receptive and inclusive of me, but at the same time, it's like, you know, when I go home to Buffalo, where I'm from, I don't have, like, you know, that network of people there who are glad to see me, or, you know, that I can show, hey, like, look, remember when I was 7 years old and thought that I was going to be somebody amazing, you know, look how far I've gotten, look at all these interesting things I've done with my life, you know. Now I find myself in the Bronx, which is on the other side of the state from where I grew up, having already lived in another country. You know, I'm in graduate school, so I've completed college. You know, I guess there's this really tiny little fear in me that while this is bringing pleasure, you know, there's this slight destructive part of me that doesn't, I don't know, maybe doesn't want it to manifest itself, and that is going to hinder anything I do, you know. It's almost, and now I think the problem is it's turning into a lack of confidence. Like, what's wrong with me that I don't have friends from way back when, that I'm not on the phone every day with a friend catching up, I don't get emails, you know. So I guess I'm nervous that I'm going to give into the cliche or the sentimental idea that, you know, what is life without someone to share it with, without these personal connections. But it seems like that might be a bit of a secret, and to take this kind of back as any good scholar would do to where we started, and talking about Freud, in one of his essays about civilization, you know, he talks about, you know, okay, so the self needs to survive. So we have these instincts that help us live, but then at the same time, for the survival of a species, you need to work as a community, and that's when, you know, this aggressive instinct comes out, because then now you're in competition with other people. But, you know, I don't know if you can exist in a completely solitary state, and I definitely don't want to, but I don't know. So it's, I guess, life and is always something that I have to constantly question, but I would say for the most part, I'm happy, and I don't think I would ever want things to go any other way, but life is very lonely. And again, I don't know if that's just me, if that's a feeling unique to myself because of my path of development, or if that's probably something that everyone feels. So, okay.